And with me is their captain, Tony Krislovic, a happy man indeed because he's finished his university exams. Congratulations first up on that, but you've got the job in front of you today and you've made some interesting changes as well.
Yeah, we've got Jelko Urin playing at right back. Robert Wunya's out with yellow cards, so the coaches wanted a bit of pace in the defence, so he's put Jelko in.
There's been some criticism about the style of play Croatia adopted last week. Is that justified or is it a bit unfair?
I thought it was a bit unfair coming from Manfred because I think RPL only created one real chance, and I think that the pitch wasn't really conducive to good football. It was very, very bumpy, so I thought, even though I missed a penalty, I think a draw was probably a good result.
And what are the tactics today against Sydney Olympic? It's always a great game, isn't it, the derby?
Yeah, Olympic are a good side, very quick, and I think we'll be going out there to shut them down fast. When we get the ball, I think we've got to play like 2 weeks ago against Brisbane, where we went up and we sort of panicked a little bit. Maybe the guys are a bit inexperienced. We panicked a bit, but I think today, if we get ahead, we just got to keep our heads and keep playing, and I think we should do okay.
All the best, Tony. Thanks again.
Thanks,
all the best. All the best. Tony Krislovic, the captain of Sydney Croatia. He's one of a number of stars in that lineup, and to tell us more, here's Les Murray.
Thank you, Andy, and let's have a look at that Sydney Croatia lineup. At number 1, the goalkeeper is Zeljko Kalac, retaining his position, continuing in the place of Mark Bosnic, who of course is still in Fiji. At number 2, as you heard, Zeljko Urin playing in a right back role, although I suspect he will be playing more as a flank midfielder. At number 3 is the youngster Ante Zizic, who came in last week and did well enough to stay. At number 4 is one of the imports returning into the side, Fadil Murici, an import from Croatia. At number 5 is Mark Babic, the young Socceroo, making his 6th appearance today. And by the way, I suspect he will be marking Tim Bradbury today. At number 6, Miro Stipic, another one of the imports who's playing sweeper these days. At number 7, the man whose skills we admired so much last week, Jose Iriarte. At number 8, Pedro Ricoy, a veteran now of 186 appearances. At number 9, Tony Krislovic, the man you've just heard from, the captain of Sydney Croatia. At number 10, Tony Popovic, the young Socceroo fullback, who played midfield last week and will so again today. At number 11 is Joe Kaleta, brought back, of course, this season from Melbourne, Croatia. Let's have a look at the Sydney Olympic lineup. Gary Meyer, the veteran, continues, of course, in goal. Clint Gosling is still in the youth team. At number 2, David Barrett, returning today after missing last week's game through injury. At number 3, Robbie Ironside, still playing in the defence, but figuring very strongly in those set pieces in the penalty area. At number 4, Robbie Hooker, the sweeper. At number 5, Andrew Burnell, also returning from his groin problem, which kept him out last week. At number 6, Gary Phillips, the veteran midfielder, 234 appearances so far to his credit. At number 7, Tim Bradbury, 6 goals from 6 games, remember. At number 8, Grant Lee, he's returning from having missed last week's game against Brisbane as well. At number 9, Zlatko Nastevski, he was in grave doubt today. The coach, Mick Hickman, was thinking of resting him today, but in the end opted to stay with him. At number 10, the man who's really in the best of forms, maybe of his career, Peter Katholis, the playmaker. And at number 11, the youngster Elias Avierinos. So Elias Avierinos, one of the Sydney Olympic youngsters. We've had a few in recent times with Eric Christodoulou and George Soros, but he is the latest one who shows much promise, and he's been retained today. He'll be playing, I think, on the left-hand side of the midfield. That's where you can expect him, and a young player to look over today. Much more of a veteran status is Zeljko Urin of Sydney, Croatia. He's done the journey around the clubs here in Australia since he arrived from Croatia some years ago. But today in an uncustomary right-back role, but as I said, we would expect him to play as a fast-moving flank man in the midfield. And the referee today is Eugene Brazali, who comes from Melbourne. And it'll be Sydney Croatia in their red shirts and white shorts to attack the goal to our right. And we're away at the Croatian Sports Centre in the west of Sydney. in the 17th league meeting between these two sides, with the balance slightly favouring Sydney Olympic in those 16 meetings so far. They have won 8 of those matches, 3 of them have been drawn. And we've seen some fabulous matches down the years at this stadium between these two countries, and I have to say, Johnny Warren, that the stadium is looking in good nick. The pitch is in a much better condition than it was during the first game that we saw here between Croatia and Heidelberg, and indeed the spectator facilities are much improved.
Les, I think it's the best stadium in Sydney surface-wise, particularly in the drought conditions that we're having here in Sydney. But the scene is set for what should be a tremendous match between Sydney Olympic, a team that promises so much and then fails to deliver, and then doesn't look like they're delivering, and then does deliver, and a Sydney Croatia team which really is on the mend, not in the form that their fans would like to see them in at this stage, but certainly on the mend. We saw them in the opening round where they were absolute disaster, and last week where things are starting to boil for them.
Well, May the 12th in 1985 is the day that Sydney Olympic will want to still avenge. They still haven't managed it very satisfactorily. That was the day Sydney Croatia whipped them to the tune of 5-0 on this ground. A bit much to expect to see that many goals today. Sydney Croatia haven't exactly been pouring the goals in this season when they've had their problems. And as you heard from Tony Kislovic at the beginning of the match, closing down on the Sydney Olympians will be very much the order of the day. Gary Meyer getting ready for this first quarter of the evening. Coming in from Murici, and the header's in off the line from Avjerinos. The header came in from Tony Popovic. And a very close call inside the 3rd minute of the match. That's away by Hooker. And back it comes, but there is the replay, John. A very close call.
Close call, and Olympic nearly paying the penalty for going to sleep there, letting Popovic in on the far post. Such a splendid header of the ball, and that was a great one, and only desperation save on the line. But Olympic really caught out there, Les. You have Popovic, Babic, Krislovic, Sydney Croatia do pose a threat in the air from those dead ball situations, and Olympic lucky to get away on that occasion.
Well, a well-taken corner too from Murici, who came back into the side today. He's been almost written off as a disappointing import, but he made his reappearance today. And, well, for his sake, one hopes he'll put in a good performance. Iriarte, a little nutmeg there, and whipping it inside quickly. Caleta was up for it, and it's away finally by Peter Catholis for Olympic. And Joe Caleta, I might just point out, there has been some dispute or argument about the right pronunciation of his name. Well, we've got it from the horse's mouth, from the player himself today. His pronunciation is Joe Caleta. Here's Catholis inside for Phillips. Square ball for Avjerinos. Robbie Hooker lofting it towards Nastevski. 2 men with him, Yurin and Stipic. Little back heel, nicely done inside by Avjerinos, looking for Grant Lee, who wasn't quite ready. Here's Phillips. Lovely ball, a reverse pass to Bradbury, who tries to whip it inside, but his marker, Mark Babic, is with him quickly. Nastevski. Long one, and it might be just too long for Phillips, but he does manage to get it back into play. Away by Popovic. Now Ironside goes forward, Popovic again, and Nastevski. Well, Zlatko Nastevski, whose average down the years in National League football is something like 1 goal every 2 games. So he's not having a happy season so far, not having been able to score in his 6 appearances so far for Sydney Olympic, and he'd be the least happy man about that himself. Nastevski. It's Zicic away to Caleta through the gap. Barrett is with Caleta, but he whips it in, and Kislovic wanted the header. He decided it was too high, whipped it again. Oh, great save by Meyer. The header was from Iriarte. Well, a dazzling piece of play in front of the Sydney Olympic goal by Sydney Croatia, John.
Dazzling play by all means, Les. What a great save from Meyer. Sydney Croatia at this stage just tearing Olympic apart. That's two brilliant movements, very positive. Look at Meyer there, bringing his experience to bear on that situation. But two definite goal-scoring opportunities for Croatia. They really are on the boil, as we said earlier. And Sydney Olympic against the ropes, even at this early stage. And they can thank the save by Meyer for keeping them on equal terms at this stage.
A coolish evening here at the Croatian Sports Centre. Very pleasant, I should think, for the players. Here's Bernal. Popovic. Murici. Babic. Yurin. Ricoy running onto that, but towering over him was Robbie Ironside. And this man, Peter Catholis, needs to get very involved in this Olympic side if they're going to start to dominate. That's meant for Bradbury, but Nastevski got there. Bradbury again. Nastevski arrives. No, he doesn't. Not on time. Well, some good understanding. I know, John, that Mick Hickman was looking for some understanding between Nastevski and Bradbury, and there was some there.
Yes, Les, Olympic's best move of the game so far. Olympic, a little unfortunate not to have got something out of that, but it was significant too that it's the first time we've seen Catholis involved dominating the middle of the park. He set it up, and Olympic, again, a little unlucky not to get something out of that.
Murici. Zizic. And that'll go out for a goal kick. So, John, we've had half an hour. No goals. I suppose it's evening out a touch, but still Croatia, well, to me at any rate, looking the more dangerous.
Well, they're more in control of the game, Les, and that's happening particularly. They're playing it better from the back than Olympic are. They have a numerical advantage in midfield. I think Olympic are getting caught out. You have Barrett, Bernal, Hooker, Ironside, 4 players at the back, generally picking up 2 players, Iriarty and Kaleta, because Prislovic dropping into midfield, and this is giving the numerical advantage in midfield to Croatia, and they're using it very well. But they have sparked today like they haven't sparked for a long, long time, and that must please some of the suffering fans here at the Croatian Sports Centre. It's been a long time since Croatia's played this well at home.
Here now is Robbie Ironside for Olympic, and Phillips. Very quickly onto him was Ricoy, and gave away a foul. Gave away a free kick, and that'll be a card for Pedro Ricoy, who's already got one. So it's a matter of what the referee's report will say, whether Ricoy is in trouble. John?
Yes, a tackle from behind, Les. One would... Gary Phillips, in fact, retaliating, which is very unlike Gary. Once you retaliate, of course, you're in line for yellow as well. If you look at Ricoy, the very strong St George presence here, Les. Prislovic, Grabevski on the bench, of course, Ricoy, Kaleta.
And Avierinos is a St George junior. Here now is Iriarte. Short one for Popovic. He wants it on his right foot. Had his problems with it though. Avierinos is brought down. The referee rightly waves play on for advantage. Catholis with a short one. Dummy from Grantley, a good one. Here now is Ironside. He had room to swing the foot, and he kept going. And now it'll be a free kick, and indeed a yellow card for Stipic. So, John, 2 yellow cards in the space of about a minute.
Well, that one more deserving, Les. It's the professional foul on the edge of the box, the one that FIFA are trying to clear up. The interpretation there that had Ironside a rounded Stippich, he would have had a goal-scoring opportunity. And that's a directive from FIFA, and one must agree with the referee's interpretation of that incident.
So a free kick from a tantalising distance indeed for Sydney Olympic, and 2 of the men there over the ball. The number 9, Nastevski, can bend them, Brazilian-like, and Peter Catholis can hit them like a Scud missile from there. And Gary Phillips is issuing some tactical advice. Nastevski, and he turns around with that customary look of disappointment on his face. He did manage to penetrate the wall or get it around the wall, but no real problems for Kalats. Both of these teams just finishing out of the top 5 last season. Sydney Olympic in 6th place, Sydney Croatia in 7th. After years and years in which really we expected both of these clubs to be in the 5 almost as a general rule. Phillips and Catholis. Look at the shortage of room that he has. Avierinos. Bradbury. Nastevski turns well to make space. He did that beautifully. And well struck by Grant Lee. Well, Zlatko Nastevski may not have scored, but he manufactured a brilliant goal out of nothing.
The skills of Nastevski, Les, we haven't seen a lot of him in this game so far. It hasn't been his night, but he really played it back there. What excellent skill. Not many players would have done that. Just pulls it back, changes direction, and watch finishing from Grant Lee. A beautiful curved shot in the far post. Just as we're counting Olympic out, and certainly outplayed in the first half, here they are back into it, thanks to a touch of genius from both Nastevski and a great shot from Grant Lee. The replay there showing how it curved in the far post with the outside of the foot. A lot of players would have hit it with the instep and gone wide of the post as a result of that. But a beautiful curved shot. And there we go, the beauty of our game, Les. The team that's been outplayed is now on top.
And also the beauty of our game is what we saw from Zlatko Nastevski, that brief split second before that well-struck goal was scored by Grant Lee, his 2nd goal of the season, by the way. And I was speaking to Mick Hickman a couple of hours before kickoff, and at that time he was still very undecided whether to use Zlatko Nastevski or young Pablo Cardoso in one of the striking roles tonight, because he is concerned, understandably, that Zlatko has not been scoring, and that's what he's basically employed to do. But there are very few players in the NSL who can do what he did just before that goal. Now Kislevic for Sydney Croatia. He's got room to swing the foot, and it hits Gary Meyer on the head. Well, a most unusual save by Gary Meyer. Andrew Burnell picks himself up off the floor and wonders how in the devil that didn't go in. It was a vicious shot.
And a very bad bounce, as you'll see here in front of the goal. And Gary Meyer's made some saves in his time, but nothing ever like that. Look at the bounce.
Well, it's almost comical, Gary Meyer, but I tell you what, he's not laughing about it, because it was a very, very scary situation for a split second for him. And in the meantime, a corner was taken, and it proved to be fruitless again for Sydney Croatia. one sensational incident almost makes us forget the one preceding it. A very incident-packed half, nearing its completion, just a couple of minutes to go before the break. And it's 1-0 to Olympic. The goal scored, well, let's say, largely against the run of play by Grant Lee, with just 5 minutes before the break. So all Gary Phillips wants to do now is kill time, and so does Gary Meyer, who finds touch a la rugby union, but I think he did it deliberately, because Grant Lee is now down, seeking attention. Grant Lee scoring his second goal of the season and his 31st in 201 appearances. And he was in some doubt today as well. He didn't play last week. Mick Hickman, in your picture there, just walking out of picture, is having a few words of advice to Tim Bradbury, which will be transmitted to some of his colleagues. 1 minute to go. I gather that's the message, and let's just keep the ball until that whistle goes. Grant Lee's okay. Appears to have got a knock on the head. So it'll be a throw into Sydney Croatia. Now, the sportsmanship would have it that the ball would go back to Olympic, but it doesn't. And Iriarte puts it out sportsmanlike. While all that was going on, two Olympic substitutes, Tsekenis and Cardoso, were warming up. But no need for them at this stage. Here's Bernal trying to recover for Olympic. Pressure coming from Tony Kislovic. Now Grant Lee. Zlatko Nastevski. Katholas manages to make some space. Nastevski again. Bradbury tries to chip the keeper. It wasn't a bad thought either. Zelko Kalac is a tall man to chip. But Tim Bradbury will have to console himself back in the dressing room, because the whistle has gone for the half-time break. And we've had a drama-filled first half here, punctuated by lots of incidents in front of the goal of Gary Meyer, the Sydney Olympic goalkeeper. But in the end, the climax came in the 40th minute, when Grant Lee punished the Sydney Croatia defence, who allowed Zlatko Nastevski to do a piece of magic wizardry just before the goal. So at the break, it's Sydney Croatia 0, Sydney Olympic 1. And on the sidelines, Andy Pascalidis.
What a first half it's been. The best first half I've seen in the whole season, no doubt. Round 7. And Pablo, the goal that came, I thought, against the run of play.
Oh, it was a magnificent goal, though. Like, I mean, Zlatko's build-up was superb, and then Grant Lee's finishing was immaculate. Incredible.
And straight after that, it was the best header of the game.
Yeah, Gary Meyer pulled off a great header off the line, and lucky to keep us 1-0 up.
Some thought you might have been in the starting 11, but you're really desperate to get out there, aren't you?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, as long as the team does well, I don't really mind, but I'd really like to get out there for sure, yeah.
Can Olympic hold on?
Oh, I think we can. Our defence is holding up pretty well, and just hope we can put a few more goals away.
Okay, all the best, Pablo. And what a second half it promises to be. But straight after this break, we'll return with Les Murray and Johnny Warren.
Back to match of the day in round 7 of the Coca-Cola National Soccer League for 1991-92. And in our match of the day, it's a 1-0 lead at half-time to Sydney Olympic against Sydney Croatia. And I might tell you that the scoreline that has come through from Middle Park in Melbourne is quite a sensational one in the derby. We'll let you find out what that is later in the program when we bring you the highlights of the match between South Melbourne and Heidelberg. But Johnny Warren, as Andy Pascalidis said, and I think we would agree with him, the best first half we've probably seen in terms of an event-filled first half, certainly, since the season began.
Les, I think we've got to pay tribute to Sydney Croatia for a lot of that. They've really struggled. They had that nightmare start against Heidelberg where they were totally devastated, and slowly put it together to a stage where I certainly didn't expect them to play with the verve and endeavour that they have in the first half here. But unfortunately, they're down a goal. We're going to see a lot more from them now. The pressure's going to be right on them. And that move, the goal for Sydney Olympic, is going to do wonders for Nastevski's confidence. Goal scorers are confidence players, and he needed that almost as much as the goal. So,
and now Iriarte arrives. He must score. Good save by Maya. Well, Jose Iriarte, he did part of the engineering work himself, and then found himself so early in this second half. It almost was identical to what happened in the first half, with only the keeper to beat. But Gary Meyer, John, came out very well.
Great attacking of the ball. Gary Meyer, very much underrated goalkeeper. Les, we saw that unique save from him in the first half, but that was really Gary Meyer at his best, attacking the ball, closing down Iriarte. Dangerous situation, and putting the pressure right back on the attacker.
And here comes Croatia again. That's Murici dispossessed, but fouled by Grant Lee, who, as you can tell from his expression, is not in complete agreement with the referee. It'll be a free kick to Sydney Croatia, about 20 metres, 25 metres out of Gary Meyer's goal. So we are barely into the second minute of this second half, and we've already had a huge chance to Jose Iriarte, and now it'll be a free kick, and Tony Kislevic, who can hit them like a rocket from there, is over the ball. Badil Murici is behind him, and he's ready. Gary Meyer. And Kislevic wants the ball back. Just the right distance. And here he is. Tries to bend it, and one player has gone down. And it's lofted in towards Iriarte, who does manage to get the head to it, and it's finally away by Bernal. And one Sydney Olympic player is down, having collected that vicious shot, that vicious free kick from Tony Kislevic. And I think it's Grant Lee again.
Not a good start for Grant this second half. He's collected it in the face, Les.
Not something that anybody would relish. Tony Kislevic certainly knows how to hit them. But Grant Lee, who's been in a buoyant mood tonight, has been receiving attention a couple of times now. So he's having his nose is in a football match tonight. And
well, to his credit, a lot of walls break, Les, and that's the goal. But he stood there and took his punishment to save what could have been a goal.
It's a throw-in on the far side. Popovic losing it to Phillips. And now Nastevski, and Bradbury wants the return and almost gets it. Here's Yuri. Now Barrett. Caletta. Runs at Bernal. Bernal cuts across him. And Andrew Bernal, a little bit fortunate he wasn't caught obstructing then. Catholas, first time to Avierinos. And Sydney Olympic rather fortunate to get away with that. Here's Avierinos again. Now Catholas. Phillips. Short one to Catholas. Swings the right foot. And Zeljko Kalac flies across his goal as Peter Catholas sighs deeply and wonders how close that was.
Wasn't far off. We saw a similar shot from Cat last week, Les, from that distance. And that one's curved just a little bit to the side of the post. What a splendid start to the second half. Both teams having a go at one another. Croatia starting in similar vein to what they did in the first half, and leaving enough room and space for Olympic to hit them on the break. But I think we're in for a top 45 minutes of football. It's a vital match. Olympic need the points to stay in touch with the leaders, and Croatia need the points to stay in touch with the 5. And hence we're going to have two teams having a go at one another.
Bernal and Kirslovic clashing, and Bernal gives away the free kick. Popovic will leave this. No, in fact, he takes it himself. Here's Stipic. There are two men available on the right, Murici and Jurin. Jurin. Murici regains it. And Avierinos gives away the free kick, and this time a bit closer to Sydney Olympics' goal. Zelko Jurin will take it. Into the box, away by Bernal. Nastevski. Forced to play it back to his keeper. Gary Meyer, quite a hero in the first half. Murici. Jurin. Bernal's under this. And Grant Lee, well, he would have had the option of turning with the ball, but he felt he was under pressure, so he put it back to his keeper. Here's Andrew Bernal again. Looks for the long one. And Barrett goes, brought down by Caleta. Nastevski with a free kick. Caleta. Well turned by Kirslovic. And now Iriarte finds himself rather fortunately with the ball and almost weaving his way through. And finally Gary Meyer arrives. He did collect a kick from Iriarte, who was very eager to regain possession of the ball. John, it was another good run by Iriarte. He started off very well and then lost it.
Olympic lucky to get out of that, Les, but they played themselves into trouble. They've been starting to pass the ball back from long distances to the keeper to take the rhythm out of this Croatia attack, use up a bit of time. They nearly paid the penalty there, and just the bounce of the ball kept Iriarte out.
Murici for Croatia. Caleta in the last split second electing to do a dummy, and here he comes, a short cross ball inside. Oh, what a great goal by Popovic! Well, it somehow fell right for him. Caleta did some damage on the left, and Popovic, almost falling to the ground, pumped it into the back of the net.
And full marks to the referee, Les, here for allowing the game to go on. There was a foul on Caleta. He allowed the advantage, and Popovic, what a splendid shot. There's the advantage allowed there. Caleta's allowed to go on with the job, and from it comes the goal. And Popovic, normally playing in a defensive role, will be over the moon about that goal. He's adapted well to midfield. And that goal, one cannot begrudge Croatia the opportunity to be back on level terms. I think they've deserved it on what we've seen in the game so far. And now we have a match which is really going to cook now, because both teams want both points. And the scene's set for the last final 30 minutes of end-to-end stuff.
So after 12 minutes in the second half, Tony Popovic scores to make the scoreline Sydney Croatia 1, Sydney Olympic 1. And that, by the way, was Tony Popovic's first goal of the season, and only his second goal in his 21 NSL appearances. Now Bradbury. And the foul by Tim Bradbury. A little bit over-eager. And that'll be a yellow card to Tim Bradbury.
Well, that's unfortunate, Les. The foul, if anything, the initial foul was the other way. Perhaps the yellow is for something that Bradbury has said, but he was fouled first. Well, that's how I saw it on replay.
No, I would agree with you actually, John, because he was. I mean,
Stipic was protecting the ball, but the ball was within playing distance. It did appear as though he had fouled at first, but on the replay there, one agrees that the referee was correct. But yellow card, well, perhaps a bit heavy again, probably for something that Bradbury said to him.
So Kirslovic now for Croatia. Here's Barrett for Olympic. Bradbury, that time brought down by Babic. There's been quite a tussle between these two men tonight. Here's Grant Lee, Gatholas. Plenty of time left in this match as both teams go hunting for the deciding goal. But we might just get more than one, judging by the pace of this match and the ambition of both sides. Ante Zizic. Tackle was by Nastevski. So substitute getting ready for Sydney Olympic, who is Peter Tsekenis, midfielder. But in the meantime, it's a free kick to Sydney Croatia. Over on the left to be taken by Zizic. Lofted in, up goes Rikoy. And an overhead try from Iriarte. And again, not very far away, John, just as he came awfully close against Apia last week.
And illustrating the skill again of this man. The scissors kick not easy to execute. And that one was much closer than one we saw last week against Apia, Les. Perhaps the next one, the third one, is going to prove it. But what a skillful addition Iriarte is to the National Soccer League. And skills like that are the reason why.
And Iriarte is brought down. The flag is up. Linesman very close to the incident. And the first substitution of the match, it'll be Pablo Cardoso. Well, according to my figures, but it doesn't look like Cardoso, so maybe they've swapped shirts. And Grant Lee is the man who comes off. And in fact, it's Tsekenis, Peter Tsekenis, who comes on. According to our team sheet, Cardoso was wearing number 14, but in fact it's Tsekenis. So that's the first substitution of the match. Midfielder for midfielder. And Grant Lee is being examined about perhaps effects of those couple of clashes that he had involving his head. One hopes there's no sign of concussion there. Now it's Rikoy, not a bad cross either, and a good header, and a fine save. The header was from Jose Iriarte, the save from Gary Meyer. Good move by Sydney Croatia, John.
Another splendid move by Sydney Croatia, opening Olympic up on the flanks. Excellent cross, Iriarte's header, and what a save from Meyer again. He's had a game and a half for Olympic this evening. It's good stuff all round. Great creative play by Sydney Croatia, and another excellent save from Gary Meyer.
Five minutes to go. It's 1-1. Just a bit over 5, in fact. But time running out, and it's 1-1 locked. Delicately poised, as they say in the classics. One goal will decide this issue. And I wouldn't be surprised if it will. You will remember how Sydney Olympic came back to score 2 goals. Here's Cardoso! Oh, whipping shot with a left foot from the youngster. Suddenly found himself with some space, John, and showed that he can shoot with the left.
Beautiful touch, wasn't it, Les? Cardoso and Sakanis were on at half-time shooting in, and they were hitting the back of the net from that distance. With a sweet left foot.
Now Grabevski. He was trying to prompt Manus Lamond, but it was about 20 metres too far forward. Story of the match was excitement and end-to-end stuff all the way, with Grant Lee breaking the deadlock in the 40th minute. A splendid goal engineered by Zlatko Nastevski and beautifully struck by Grant Lee. But Croatia deserved more than that, and they got an equaliser 12 minutes into the second half. A beauty it was from Tony Popovic. Here now is Grabevski. And that's out of play off Kaleta. Now Kislovic. Wow. He measured his shot and almost hit it right. And Gary Meyer was well positioned, though, in a position to read it before the shot was taken. Bernal. The whistles of encouragement coming from the gallery. I'm not sure which part of the gallery. What a huge man, Zelko Kalac. Kislovic. Sakanis goes down. Kislovic brings him down. Free kick. Gary Phillips with a free kick. We are now 4 minutes into stoppage time. Away, not away by Popovic. It'll be a corner. So some offensive last moments here. And the fans who've begun to scream out of the stadium are now stopping just in case this is going to be the decider. Bernal. Sakanis tries to hook it back in, but it's away by Popovic. And there is the whistle as the referee points to the centre circle and brings it all to an end. It's been an excellent night of football here. Intrigue, drama and excitement all the way from beginning to end, if not always champagne football. End-to-end stuff, and both teams had their chances in equal measures. But perhaps the most encouraging thing to emerge out of the night was the good form of Sydney Croatia, which a lot of fans I know have begun to write off for the entire season. The goals came in the 40th minute from Grant Lee to give Sydney Olympic a 1-0 lead. The equaliser from Tony Popovic 12 minutes into the second half. And that's our final scoreline. Sydney Croatia 1, Sydney Olympic 1. Let's go now to Andy Pascalidis on the sidelines.
Who would want to be a coach? And with me is the Sydney Olympic coach, Mick Hickman. And how's the pacemaker going?
Not very good at the moment. It was A bit frustrating watching a game like that, actually, to be honest with you. You know, one week you play so well, and the next week it fits in starts, and you know, you wonder where you go wrong sometimes.
There was a lot of commitment, intensity. The fans, I'm sure, would walk away happy with what they've seen, though.
I think the fans would. I mean, it was quite exciting at times. I mean, goal-mouth actions and stuff like that. But as a coach, I mean, I think you'd be generally disappointed with the performance of both teams, really.
Do you think there are troubles at your club? You're looking at changes?
I think there's troubles, and it's just a bit of inconsistency. One moment, like last week, I mean, we played extremely well against Brisbane and got beat 2-0. I mean, the football was great. I mean, it was shooting practice at one stage, and then tonight we just couldn't string 3 passes together. But you know, that's been the story of our season so far.
True Abbassad is back next week.
Yes, Abbas is arriving back on Wednesday, and we'll have a look at him and see where we're going to go from there.
Okay, all the best, Mick. Thanks once again.
Thanks very much, Andy.